Good morning, everyone. Oops. I'm home alone? No, I'm not. My daughter's working upstairs, so I have to be a little quiet. Though she puts her earplugs in so she doesn't hear anything while she's doing what she needs to do. So I'm just going to get started. Oh, I could talk about all kinds of things. Again, this, that. But I'm giving myself a rest. Balance. I don't need to think about everything all the time, do I? Or, oh, wait a minute. What about, oh, see? Here I go, get started. Nope, I'm not doing that. We're in 1 Samuel 20. Jonathan helps David to escape. Fleeing from the huts at Ramah, David went and confronted Jonathan. What have I done? What is my guilt? How have I wronged your father for him to want to take my life? He replied, you must not think that. You are not going to die. My father, you see, does nothing important or unimportant without confiding in me. So why should my father hide this from me? It is not true. Huh? Well, that's a whole fallible little part right there. In reply, David swore, your father knows very well that I enjoy your favor and thanks. Oh, it's mutual. He enjoys David's favor. Okay, he enjoys David's favor, Jonathan's favor, but is he returning it? And thanks. Jonathan must not know about this or he will be upset. About what? Everybody knows that Saul wants to kill David. The servants heard it, remember? Huh. But as Yahweh lives, and as you yourself live, there is only one step between me and death. Oh, that's an interesting, as Yahweh lives. No one could understand this one way or another again. At which Jonathan said to David, whatever you think best, I will certainly do for you. David replied, look, tomorrow is new moon, and I ought to sit at table with the king, but you must let me go and hide in the countryside until the evening. Tomorrow's new moon, so they're doing what? What does the new moon have to do with sitting at the table with the king? What kind of practices are we discovering here that seem to be way more important than sitting at the table with God at the times God had assigned to Israel? Oh, interesting. Well, it could be a thing of translation. What do I know, right? Oh, okay. If your father notices my absence, you must say David insistently asked me for permission to hurry over to Bethlehem, his hometown, because they are holding the annual sacrifice there for the whole clan. If he says, very well, your servant is safe, but if he flies into a rage, you may be sure that he has some evil plan. Oh, so they're going to lie to the king and make up some kind of an excuse on why he's not there. This is already going in the right direction, isn't it? Yeah. Show your servant faithful love, since you have bound your servant to you by a pact in Yahweh's name. But if I am guilty, a pact by God's name. Interesting. But if I am guilty, then kill me yourself. Why take me to your father? Okay, why would David now talk to Jonathan like that, who he knows full well favors him so much? Why would Jonathan then want to kill him or entice him to go somewhere where he could be killed? What weird relationships these people had with each other. So then, no communication. Everybody's just talking to everybody else, this and that, but nobody really has a conversation with the person they need to have, because it's just not possible. They're all enemies? Oh. All right. Jonathan replied, perish the thought. If I knew for sure that my father was determined to do you a mischief, would I not have told you? But Saul already said he would. Okay, all right. And tried. Oh, okay. David then said, what is this? David then said to Jonathan, who will let me know if your father gives you a harsh answer? Jonathan then said to David, come on, let us go out into the country. And the pair of them went out into the country. Jonathan then said to David, by Yahweh, God of Israel, I shall sound my father this time tomorrow. Oh, thank you for the breeze. I am really hot. If all is well for David, and I do not then send and inform you, may Yahweh bring unnameable ills to Jonathan, and worse ones too. If my father intends to do you a mischief, I shall tell you so and let you get away, so that you can be safe. And may Yahweh be with you as he used to be with my father. If I am still alive, show your servant faithful love. If I die, never withdraw your faithful love from my family. When Yahweh has exterminated every enemy of David's from the face of the earth, do not let Jonathan's name be exterminated with Saul's family, or may Yahweh call David to account. Okay. Interesting. I could say a whole lot to all this again, but does it matter? Jonathan then renewed his oath to David, since he loved him like his very soul. Jonathan then said to David, tomorrow is new moon, your absence will be noticed, since your place will be empty. The day after tomorrow your absence will be very marked, and you must go to the place where you hid on the day of the deed, and stay beside that mound. For my part, the day after tomorrow I shall shoot 3 arrows in that direction, as though at a target. I shall then send a servant to go and find the arrows. If I say to him, the arrows are this side of you, get them, come out, since all will be well for you and nothing the matter, as sure as Yahweh lives. But if I say to him, the arrows are ahead of you, then be off, for Yahweh himself will be sending you away. What? And as regards the agreement we made, you and I, why Yahweh is witness between us forever. So David hid in the country. New moon came, and the king sat down to his meal. He sat in his usual place with his back to the wall. Jonathan sat facing him, and Abner sat next to Saul. But David's place was empty. Saul said nothing that day, thinking it is sheer chance he is unclean. On the day after new moon, the second day, David's place was still empty. Saul said to his son, Jonathan, why did not the son of Jesse come to the meal either yesterday or today? Jonathan answered, Saul, David insistently asked me for permission to go to Bethlehem. Here he is, lying. Please let me go, he said, for we are holding the clan sacrifice in the town, and my brothers have ordered me to attend. So now if I enjoy your favor, let me get away and see my brothers. That is why he has not come to the king's table. Oh, and here it is. Saul flew into a rage with Jonathan and said, son of a rebellious slut. Whoa. Saul didn't think much of his wife there, one of them. I don't know how many he had. Don't I know that you side with the son of Jesse to your own shame and your mother's dishonor? It takes 2 to tango and produce a child, doesn't it? As long as the son of Jesse lives on earth, neither you nor your royal rights are secure. Now have him fetched and brought to me. He deserves to die. Royal rights. Oh, wow, looky here. Establishment of royalty. Ah, and so Jonathan, must assume from this excerpt here, is in line for the throne. Now have him fetched and brought to me. He deserves to die. Jonathan retorted to his father Saul, why should he die? What has he done? But Saul brandished his spear at him to strike him, and Jonathan realized that his father was determined that David should die. Hot with anger, Jonathan got up from the table and ate nothing on the second day of the month, being upset about David because his father had insulted him. They're so about just themselves, right? And Saul brandished his spear at him to strike him. At his own son, because of David. Next morning, Jonathan went out into the country at the time agreed with David, taking a young servant with him. He said to his servant, run and find the arrows which I am going to shoot. And the servant ran while Jonathan shot an arrow ahead of him. When the servant reached the spot to which Jonathan had shot the arrow, Jonathan shouted after him, "Is not the arrow ahead of you?" Again Jonathan shouted after the servant, "Quick, hurry, do not stand around." Jonathan's servant picked up the arrow and brought it back to his master. The servant suspected nothing. Only Jonathan and David knew what was meant. Now, David wasn't too far away then from wherever this all happened. Jonathan then gave his weapons to his servant and said, "Go and carry them to the town." As soon as the servant had gone, David stood up beside the mount, threw himself to the ground, prostrating himself 3 times. They then embraced each other, both weeping copiously. Jonathan then said to David, "Go in peace, and as regards the oath that both of us have sworn by the name of Yahweh, may Yahweh be witness between you and me, between your descendants and mine forever." Let's see where that oath is going to go. That's the end of 20. Interesting on what kind of a turn this all has taken, right? Yes, with suddenly now that Israel has a king, and in a way, right? Yes, we didn't really get anything about what that has done for the Israelites. Right? All we know is it's a big old mess, and now suddenly, instead of the Levites, the tribe that God had put in place to lead the Israelites, especially when it came to spiritual matters, the 10 Commandments, this, that, I don't know what, resolve things, working together with the people, right? Both having that give and take, right? The tribe of the Levites with all the other tribes has completely disappeared. And what's in place now? And what's happening? The lording over all and everyone according to one man's desire, lust and desire, for what? Power? Afraid to lose the throne? Has taken up. Absolutely, 100%. And it went on from there. How about today's world? I've mentioned that already. Yesterday, day before yesterday, and that's working. Well, anyway, it is what it is. I have this weekend and then one more week, and then I'm going home. And I've got things to do. I've gathered a whole bunch of Johnson grass with my granddaughter. It's all laying down here waiting to be processed, and I can't wait to get on into it. I had to let it dry a little bit. It rained yesterday. And then the rest of the day, the whole night, it felt like a sauna here. I'm not kidding. It was interesting again. Not uncomfortable. Just like a sauna. It's literally what it felt like. Yes. Interesting. How many people seek a sauna, right? Yes. Oh, just for a short amount of time. This, that. Yes, I get it. Yet when you have it, or what are they called? Well, in whatever form. Right? It's a Native American tradition too, and it's called a sweat lodge. There you go. We had a natural sweat lodge here yesterday, and it felt actually really good. I have to say. It's a little cooler. The wind's picking up, and it's bringing actually a cool breeze. It's wonderful. Just wonderful. There. So, that it is. That is it for today. I could say so much more, but I've got some other things on my mind I want to do right now. And Spirit World is, no, they're not quiet, what am I saying? But so much to say, so little time. It's amazing that one can read through a big old book like this. And I'm now, let's see, on page, I've done a good part of it. I'm on page, aren't there, doesn't it tell me what page? 273. I'm on page 273. After 272 pages and, well, I know that I'm hitting video number 600, which are not all of them reading the Bible, plus my 2 cents. And it's a never-ending story of still need sharing. And I have a feeling, well, I have no doubt I get to the end of this book and I will not even have shared everything. It's so much. There's so much to share. I also wonder when I get into the New Testament on how much of the sharing that Jesus did in just 3 years. And yes, that has not been recorded, or has been recorded, just not been put into the Bible. Yes? I can't imagine that. As I said, the Old Testament is this big, and the New Testament is this big. Well, but that's because it's only 3 years of continued preaching, teaching, giving from Spirit World, from his Father in heaven, his heavenly parent. How much was omitted? I wonder sometimes. How much was omitted? Again, because it just didn't suit the understanding of the ones that actually put the Bible together. I'd like to have the whole thing. I really do. Which I probably could put together myself, right? Yes? If I would want to go and find everything that wasn't put into the Bible, that also Jesus had to give to us, the rest of us. Yes? Good. I don't think that's in my cards. That will be in someone else's cards. Yes? Yeah. All right. There we are. Time to get going on my Johnson grass. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to y'all another time. Oh, my glasses on. I can hardly see here.